Welcome to This Week in Baseball Player Profiles as we profile former college collegiate coach Andrew Bartman, who also is with Team USA. Hey, Andrew, how you doing today?
I'm good, Tonto. Thanks for having me.
Hey, so we're going to get started, talk some baseball. What got you into baseball when you started as a youth?
Man, I think part of it was it was a game that a lot of people played in Central Illinois. Wasn't a big football area, and I know football hadn't really taken off like it has now either. So it was a basketball crazy community of Lincoln, Illinois. And I am 6 feet tall and can't jump very high and really slow. So I played basketball junior high and a little bit in high school, and then decided to focus on where I could contribute more, and that was on the baseball field.
Okay. Tell us about your high school days and your collegiate days playing.
Well, I was a catcher from fifth grade. Coach in the summer said, "Hey, do you want to play every single game?" So I pitched and I played first. And "You want to play every single game?" I said, "Yeah, of course." And he's like, "Well, you're going to catch." I said, "All right, I'll learn how to catch." So I love catching. Like I said, I caught from fifth grade all the way through 4 years of college. Played a couple games at first base here and there when need be. But I love being involved with every play. I love that relationship with the umpire, and I could really receive it. I could really throw it. Couldn't hit very well, so that's why I started coaching when I was done playing, and I didn't keep playing after college. So it was I loved being behind the plate, and I really enjoyed coaching catchers. And when I started coaching, I was a pitching coach, because who better knows how to talk to pitchers than a catcher?
I hear you. That was my next question. What got you into coaching?
I was in high school, and my junior high coaches, baseball and basketball, had asked me to help out. And so, like in the winter, I was helping coach junior high basketball. And then in the fall, I helped coach junior high baseball. And that's, before everybody was playing fall ball when they were in high school, right? It was just standard. Played spring and summer, and that was it. So I really enjoyed doing it. Then I started coaching in the summers. My JUCO coach, Tony Thomas, I helped him coach one summer, like 13U. Travel team, and really enjoyed it. And then even when I was in college, I was the head coach of my own travel team, kept the same group from like 16, 17, 18. And from there, realized it was what I wanted to do. And was just fortunate and blessed, got a job right out of college. I didn't put my PE degree to use. I just went straight into coaching at Wabash Valley Junior College in Southern Illinois. And man, for someone that played JUCO and D3 and then get turned loose to coach the pitchers and catchers at, team that this year, they're number one in the country, Division I JUCO. They were really good when I was there too. To get to coach players, with that ability that I had never even played with, let alone that I didn't have, was eye-opening to me. And it's a whole lot of fun coaching talented players.
So tell us about that journey that you had through college coaching. I know you end up being the head coach at Bethany, but what did it take for you to get to that point?
Yeah, it was like I said, a lot of fun. That first job at Wabash Valley College, I was a recruiting coordinator and the pitching coach by default. I took it as going to be the number 2 assistant and making $2,000 and getting a free dorm room. And right before I got there, the number 1 assistant left, and Rob Fournier, the head coach, was like, "Well, you're going to be the recruiting coordinator now." I said, "Awesome. I don't know what I'm doing." So I got a raise up to like $14,000 in a dorm room. Big time money there. So it was right out of college, and thank goodness my wife, we got married when we were down there. We had met before that. Thank goodness she was with me on this journey, because who would have known where I would have ended up without her being with me. But it was, man, if you want to build a humongous network as a young coach for nothing at one of the best JUCOs in the country. Kansas, go coach at Cali, go coach at Johnson County, or go coach at Barton, go coach at one of those good JUCOs. There's some ones I'm leaving out there too, the Garden Cities of the world. But go coach there, because every 4-year coach in the country is calling about your players, and you get to build those relationships. And that's what really, some of my best friends in the game are guys that I met while I was there, and or they recruited my players. I went and worked their camps. You know what I mean? This back when camps was a big deal. Go make that extra $200 on the weekend, work in Kentucky camp. I worked a ton of camps. And if you want to get into coaching, you've got to put yourself out there. And using social media and doing that stuff is fine. But a lot of things get done based off of personal relationships, right? And being face-to-face and really spending time with people. So was there at Wabash Valley, built a huge network, had a lot of fun. Was actually approached about a couple different Division I pitching jobs, low major Division I's, just didn't really make sense financially or what I wanted to do. And then my JUCO coach back in my hometown, their pitching job came open, and he called and he said, "Hey, I know you won't do this, but pitching job's open." I said, "Oh, that's something different." And at Lincoln College, they're an NAI school now, but they were a private JUCO, kind of like a Heston College of Illinois.
Right.
So I go there, and it was the hardest thing to do recruiting wise. I'm going from working with these top shelf guys from all over the country, Puerto Rico, Dominican, you name it, right? We had, when I was at Wabash, we had, I think, 4 pitchers drafted, like a ton of guys signed, Division I, Division II, NAI. 2 guys ended up making the big league. So I'd coach these high level dudes, and I'd recruited at a high level, right? After learning from Rob how to do it. Going to college, and Tony is a tremendous human being. Recruiting's not really his thing. He really likes to coach. So I just hit the ground running recruiting wise, and signed 2 really good classes. They ended up being the best two years. The guys I signed going into my first year, and then my second year, and then the guys that during my second year that I had recruited that I didn't end up coaching. That was like the best 3-year run they had conference finish wise, just because got after it recruiting. And I'm not the best coach in the world, but I can talk to people and try to get the right guys on campus and make a difference. So did that. And the big thing there was they paid for me to finish my master's degree, which I knew I needed if I wanted to be a head coach, and also paid for my wife to finish school too. Got to be back home for a couple of years. And then my other alma mater, McMurray College, Division III school, an hour away in Jacksonville, Illinois, they had an opening for a head coach. And it was a complete dumpster fire of a program by that point. They had a part-time coach. They had 4 players returning that year from a roster of 10 the year before, where they went 3-30 in a bad league. They decided they needed to make it a full-time job to get it where it needs to be. The return on investment would be good. So I was able to get that position, and again, hit the ground running and signed a bunch of guys. We went 14-23 that first year. And you would have thought on campus that everybody thought I was Tony La Russa, They're like, "You've got 32 players and you just won 14 games. I'm like, "Yeah, we were terrible." but it's all relative, right? To where they were the year before. So I was there for 2 years, and the AD that hired me there took a job at Bethany because he's from like Onega, Kansas, and his wife was from McPherson. And he was like, "Hey, I'm taking this NAI job. We might be making a change baseball wise. I'll let you know." And was able to go out there and interview. He said, "I get you in the first round. After that, you're on your own. So I don't like have enough capital built up with people to just say I'm hiring my guy." So went out there, interviewed, loved the town, fell in love with Lindsborg. It's a great small town. We called it Mayberry. You can leave your doors unlocked at night. Nobody's gonna mess with you. The only problem is they're like 80% of that town are alums. And so my first year we go and we're playing Kansas Wesleyan. I think we lost 2 out of 3. And I go to church on Sunday, and this one alum, like, he's literally drinking out of his Bethany College coffee cup at church. It's like, "Coach, it's good to see you." I said, "Thanks, good to see you." He's like, "Yeah, this is the place where you need to be after the weekend you had." Great. That's being in Lindsborg and coaching at Bethany, in a nutshell. Everybody, they mean so well, but they all have an opinion too, but it's a great town, great place to raise a family. And was getting worn out by that small college coaching. I was the associate AD. I was teaching 3 or 4 classes. I was the head coach. We had to have like 60 players by the end of, when I was there over 4 years. We had 10% of the campus, and it was a grind, absolute grind. And thankfully, like I talked about, those relationships you build. Jeremy Sheetinger, Coach Sheets, he's at Georgia Gwinnett now. He was with the American Baseball Coaches Association. Mm-hmm. One of my best friends from back when we were working camps together. And he called and said, "Hey, we're hiring for a position at the ABCA. Think you'd be a good fit." Came out here and interviewed, and loved North Carolina. The climate, Tonto, I'm not in Kansas anymore. I don't have to keep 4 tubes of chapstick in my pocket. And I don't have to come home and dig dirt out of my ears, after being outside for 2 hours. But I was at the ABCA for 2 years. It was awesome. And we were working on a joint project with USA Baseball. And that project fizzled out. But USA Baseball wanted to keep it going. And so they brought me over to help launch that, which is a coaching certification.
Okay.
So sorry, that's a long-winded answer, man, but that's
no, that's good. That's good. Tell us about USA Baseball.
USA Baseball is the national governing body of amateur baseball as designated by an act of Congress in 1978. You have your little leagues and ponies and Babe Ruth and USSSA, and I get it. When it comes down to it, we're the ones who has to answer for everybody, essentially, just like a USA Gymnastics or USA Bowling or USA Lacrosse. I didn't realize how many national governing bodies there were until I started working here. And we provide a lot of educational resources. We have our national team, the Olympic team, the qualifiers. We have our 13U, 15U, 17U national teams. We do all the identification for that. But where I work as a director of coaching development is in our develops side. Like there's MLB develops and there's USA Baseball develops. We work hand in hand with Major League Baseball to deliver quality content, programming, education all around the country. Some of our bigger programs are Fun at Bat, which if you are a elementary PE teacher or you know an elementary PE teacher, we need them to go to funatbat.org, and you need to get the program for your school. It's 100% free of cost. There is no catch. It is bat and ball equipment kits of like different sizes and shapes and textures to introduce bat and ball sports to elementary schools. And the curriculum is approved by Shape America. And we reach, I want to say 3 million kids in the US, Puerto Rico, England, and Mexico. So we are USA Baseball, but you know, as tasked by Major League Baseball to grow the game, we do a lot of things internationally as well.
Right.
Fun at Bat is unbelievable for any, I mean, we can do we do district-wide agreements with like City of Los Angeles public schools. We could do it with Smoky Valley schools. We could do it with you name it, a private school. It does not matter the size or the scope of your school district. We can bring Fun at Bat to your school. It's an outstanding program. If you're a high school coach that says the kids don't know anything about baseball by the time they get to you, then you need to have Fun at Bat in your schools. We have a long-term athlete development plan, which is an easy to digest flip book. It's got a lot of information about, hey, you know, my kid's 12, what should he be doing? Believe it or not, at USA Baseball, we are proponents of multi-sport athletes, and there's a lot of science to back that up. We've done a lot of research, a lot of leading doctors in the medical field in regards to that.
Right.
And we also did the Pitch Smart program with Major League Baseball. There's an app for that too. We have a mobile coach app that anyone can download, Apple, Android, or desktop. It's got a drill library in there. It's got practice plans in there. It's got everything you would need. Everything we have is free. I just got to say that over and over because in today's world, that's hard to find.
Right.
We got the mobile coach app, and then my baby, we've got coaching certification and coaches clinics. So we have a 3-level coaching certification program, levels A, B, and C. It can be done right now 100% online. It is free of cost. Level A is only 4 courses. That's for you know, just an entry level coach. Maybe you're a parent that's having to coach your 8-year-old son or daughter's team. You should do level A. It's 4 courses. It might take you 3 hours total. You can go at your own pace just to keep the game safe and fun. And then level B's got more baseball technical courses. Level C has that as well. And level C, you have to attend a baseball coaches clinic sanctioned by USA Baseball. That's what I spent a lot of my time doing pre-COVID, was scheduling those. And now we deliver them virtually. We have them coming up Friday night, the 26th. You can go to coachclinics.org. That's a shortcut URL to see that. And 2.5, 3 hours. We get some of the best speakers in the game from all levels. We've had youth coaches, high school, college, a lot of professional coaches come and present. And you can digest what you want to digest and take away what you want to take away. We've had 43 of these since April, and 5 or 6 different speakers each time. There's a lot of great info. You can go to our YouTube channel at youtube.com/USA Baseball TV. You can click on playlists and you can click on community clinics. And all of those clinics, if you missed it, you don't get credit in our system for attending for certification. But anybody can go and watch any of those clinics online, and there's a link to the outlines as well. So, you know, you go to a conference, you get a little packet, you know, with every speaker that talks about what they're saying. That's all right there for you. It's all on YouTube. There's 43 different coaches clinics with all different speakers over 2.5 hours each for you to watch or share with coaches in your area, or send it to your team, or whatever you want to do with it. USAB develops, plural, USAB develops with an S on the end, .com. That's to our development area. You can spend all day in there, from the LTAD to the high school coaches manual. The youth coaches manual is coming out here in another month or so. The mobile coach app, the certification, all of our courses, the coaches clinics, you name it. It's all there. It's all free. It's some of the best people in the game. I highly encourage you to check it out.
Well, I have to agree with you 100% because I went through it already and been certified, and there's a lot of good information there, a lot of good that you can. It's just like taking ground balls. There's repetition and hearing it and hearing it, and you might hear it for someone differently, and it sticks with you and resonates with you. So I agree with you. I think things with USA Baseball are great. There's a lot of opportunities for people in the coaching world and players to learn from. So you kind of answered my next question on what you guys offer for coaches. What else do you do with Team USA? What is your specific, just your job there with Team USA?
The big ones are clinics, and I guess I should have touched on pre-COVID. I had scheduled and I set up essentially close to 200 free in-person coaches clinics all around the country. So I know Heath had one up at McPherson. Bill had one at Kansas Wesleyan. I do some because I was there in Kansas. I got those relationships all over the country. And then COVID hit. We had to pivot, go virtual. So we've reached over 8,000 coaches from 44 different countries with our virtual clinics. We're hitting close to 10,000 people in person at our in-person clinics. And so I'm really hopeful that once the fall hits, we can start doing that again. And it might be something as simple as, hey, come to the 316 facility and we're hosting a coaches clinic. And if you attend, it's branded with USA Baseball, and you get credit in the USA Baseball system for doing that. We host them on the field at Marlins Park in Miami. We've had them at Division I schools, Division II, JUCO, NAI, high schools, Parks and Rec. It doesn't matter. If you want to host a clinic, I'll help you put together a clinic and knock it out. That takes up a ton of my time when we are like back to normal, I guess, or whatever normal is at that point. We're meeting in person. Also helping with the Appalachian League, the new league that we are working on in conjunction with MLB directly. Took one of those minor league, it's in our area, North Carolina, Virginia, Tennessee, one of those minor league leagues that got contracted by MLB. Then they repurposed it into a collegiate wood bat league for the summer. And it's big time. The players are not paying a dime. They're covering their travel to get there. Every stadium's got hit tracks. They're having 3 paid coaches and like a nutritionist. They're paying for their meals. It's bonkers. And they're trying to get some of the best freshmen in the country. So they naturally told me, hey, you know a lot of coaches. Can you just help, facilitate, connect some dots? And I had a good time doing that. Felt like I was recruiting again, and just talking to a bunch of guys that I know. So doing that, helping with the Appy League. And then if we get the bid, which is still in the air, to host the Olympic qualifier down in Miami for the Americas region, which we are obviously in, the end of May, beginning of June, I'm going to go down a team of 4 people to help run that event. So my role has expanded a little bit to where it was just strictly the coach's education. And now I think our organization sees I got some value on the operations side. I was like, hey guys, coach college baseball and ran tournaments and ran camps, and I can do a lot of the things that we already have in place. So that's what I like doing. I like getting back out on the field and traveling and seeing people. So doing that, and then set up a new program, our regional clinics. Those are going to be 2-day events. It's going to be the only thing we charge for. And we're going to be in 5 or 6 different markets around the country. Right now, we're looking at Dallas at Globe Life Stadium. We're looking in Scottsdale, Arizona, either Philly or Baltimore, Chicago, and Charlotte or Durham. And it's going to be a 2-day coaches clinic where you show up at noon on Saturday. We do indoor clinic, the PowerPoints, and here's what I teach, and da-da-da-da-da. But you get a swag bag, some Nike USA Baseball gear. Then at the end of that, at 5 o'clock, we have a cocktail hour, and then we have a plated dinner, right? And then the next day is on field. So like Scottsdale, a couple of years ago, we did the first one of these. We had Kai Correa. Kai did his PowerPoint, went through it. We did the cocktail hour. We did dinner. It was great. It was at the minor league training site for the Diamondbacks. Then the next day, it's Kai Correa on the field. And he's saying, hey, here's how I teach it. I showed you what I teach. Now here's how I teach it. So you get that indoor and outdoor element. And it's just a very high class event, so maybe you're somebody that can't travel to wherever the ABCA is this year. We want to provide something regionally that is an overnight stay to bring your staff. We are literally trying to break even on it. The cost for a really good swag bag and lunch and dinner and a cocktail hour and indoor outdoor instruction. It's like $119 or $99 coach for staff of 3 or more. So yeah, man, we're just literally trying to cover our cost and provide a first class event, you know, for people that maybe you can't go which I highly encourage you to go to the ABCA convention.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe you can't for whatever reason. We'd love to just see you regionally at one of our events.
Okay. And speaking of Cock, he's one of the best in the game.
Absolutely.
One of the best in the game for people that don't know. So through all your travels, and obviously you've seen a lot, recruiting, college-wise, what advice can you give to parents raising kids in baseball?
Ooh, man, it's tough because I got kids now, and if this is recorded, I'm going to have to go, but my daughter could see this 10 years from now. I would encourage you to give them the space to grow as their own person, right? And when it comes to the college process, like I've given this talk over and over and over, because I didn't coach at Wichita State. I coached at Bethany College. So find the right fit academically, financially, socially, and baseball-wise. It's not about the polo that dad wants to wear to work the next day, saying his kid committed there. And it's not about the t-shirt that mom wants to order from the bookstore. Well, Johnny is playing Division II or Division I. Is he playing? Is he getting cut in the fall? Where's he at? You know, what makes sense? Are you taking out a second mortgage on your house just because that's his dream school? Find the right fit academically, financially, socially, and baseball. You have to look at all 4 factors. Not just one, not just 2, you know, and sit down and have a conversation with the player. The player's got to take some ownership in terms of communicating about what they want. And then the parents have to still be parents. Like my daughter, my 5-year-old, she wants Girl Scout cookies at 8 o'clock in the morning. We have them in our freezer. Thin Mints in the freezer are better than just on the shelf, but we have them. I'm not going to give them to her, right? So you're still, even though that kid, that player might be 17, 18 years old, you still have to be the parent and you still have to tell them, hey, here's what we can afford. Here's the ramifications. If you do want to go there, here's how a student loan works. Here's what it looks like. Mm-hmm. Right. Well, Billy, you're from trying to think of another, you're from Newton, Kansas. You've been to Newton High School. There's been 22 kids in your classes. Are you going to go into lecture hall at Grand Canyon with 3,000 people in there and be okay? Those are the types of conversations that you've got to have as a parent, and really do your research. If Billy hates being cold, don't send him to North Dakota State, right? If he's never done a load of laundry on his own, don't send him more than 3 hours away. So those are the things that you really have to take into consideration. And baseball wise, sit down with the coach and you say, hey, Coach Baxley, I'm an outfielder, and I looked on your website, and you have 2 all-conference outfielders coming back as seniors next year, and you've got 6 other outfielders on your roster that are sophomores and juniors. Where do I fit? That probably actually tells you fit better at Cali, and you need to go there and get a fall full of ABs, right? Right. JUCO, I mean, I played and coached JUCO, forever sing the praises of JUCO, financially, academically. You're taking the same English 101 class there that you'd be taking at Wichita State. Right? It's going to transfer the same. As long as you have a good academic advisor and they're leading you down the right path of transferring and not just eligibility, because there's a difference. But you can go get that full fall in of competing and getting 20 games and less practice restrictions. I mean, it's baseball boot camp. JUCO is. It's the best thing for a lot of kids. So I will always sing the praises. But if you're going to that 4-year school, pay attention to their roster. Pay attention to Twitter. Pay attention to Facebook. I love Corbs at Vandy, but every time I get on Twitter, someone else is committing to Vandy, you know, everybody wants to go there. Well, that's fine. There's 60 players there in the fall. Where do you fit? Right. So those are the conversations that you have to have.
What advice can you give to high school kids that are entering high school now, their freshman, sophomore year?
Listen to your coaches, and it is okay to listen to your high school coach and listen to your hitting instructor. Or pitching instructor. That's the most common issue that I see or that people ask me about. I fought with it when I was a college coach, and you know, players come back from having a good summer playing summer ball. Man, I just love summer ball so much more than this. I'm like, yeah, because the summer ball coach doesn't tell you to go to class, The summer ball coach doesn't know that you were in detention. The summer ball coach doesn't know, like, doesn't make you lift and doesn't do this stuff. It's like, we've got you for 9 months. And so I think don't be the person that pushes their high school coach to the side just because they're not telling you what you want to hear, right? So really listen to that high school coach and take a little bit from them, take a little bit from your outside instructor, take a little bit from different places, and then make it your own and use what works. And number two, I tell every high school kid, when I was coaching at JUCO, I had 2 players both commit to a Division II school, and one of them had a 3.0 and one of them had a 2.9. And you know what the difference was in academic scholarship money? True story, hand to God. The difference was $10,000 per year in academic scholarship money. And the guy with the 2.9, he had a 2.9 because he elected not to take a final because he had a C, and they said, you don't have to take the final if you have a C, but if you take it, your grade can go up. Not taking one final cost him $20,000.
Wow.
Pay attention to your academics. Baseball is not a revenue sport. There's not full rides. Mom and dad, I love you. Don't tell anyone you got a full ride if it's not really a full ride. Student loans added in does not make it a full ride. Okay. So the scholarship is the full ride. You don't believe how many people get full rides in baseball where there's only 11.7 Division I scholarships. So that is the number one thing is take care of your academics, just be the best you can be because it's going to translate into dollars for you. Get in the weight room, get stronger. And when you go to college baseball, there's going to be a lot of people who are more physical than you. So you need to try to close that gap as much as possible. And one more thing, Tom, for the parents, please don't be a shirt snob at your kids' games. Happen all the time. So this might be the best advice for parents you can possibly hear. I coached at a JUCO, those very high level, which I touched on. And the first thing that coach told me was, we don't treat a Division III coach recruiting our players different than we treat Kentucky, right? It's level ground for everybody. The chips fall where they may for the kid. Nowadays, if you would go recruiting, there's so many events, staffs can't be everywhere. So you rely on the people you trust. So my last few years of coaching, you would not see me and Rob Fournier, who I coached with, and 3 other people that were at Division I schools. You would not see us at the same event. Why would we? We all know and trust each other. We worked with each other or for each other. So we spread out. And then on Monday, you fire up the scanners and you send your notes and you trade your notes and you make your calls. And there's been so many times that even in Kansas, I'd be out watching a game, Bethany College on my shirt, parents walk by and just turn their nose up. And yeah, I know your kid's really good. And I know he has an offer to Indiana State. And I actually just talked to Coach Smiley, their recruiting coordinator, who trusts me and asked me to check in on your kid. And there are so many of those relationships out there that parents don't understand. It doesn't matter where you're at in the country. There's only like 2 degrees of separation, right? When it comes to talking to coaches. And I can pick up the phone and potentially make or break your kid's scholarship based off of how he's acting today, because he might act different when he knows the school that he wants to go to is not there that day, right?
Right.
But they're still going to get the report from somebody, and that's the reality. So it sounds cliche for kids that you never know who's watching. You really don't. More importantly, you never know who's watching and who they know. And that's even more important because, like I said, there's been people get scholarships because I was at their games, not from me. And there's been people lose scholarships because I was at their games. And that's just the reality of the business. Can't be everywhere at once.
I hear you. Some good advice. So the class of 21 and 22, obviously this is unprecedented with COVID. And JUCO's all got an extra year. What advice can you give to those guys?
Well, I think try to stay strong mentally and really map out academically what you want to do. And so nowadays, a lot of people in certain majors have to go 4.5 or 5 years, right? So it might hurt you right away to take that redshirt year, but that redshirt year can be, if you're already going to be in school, hey, I know I'm engineering, I'm going to be in school for 5 years. Take that first year to get your academics straight in college, redshirt, be part of the program, crush the weight room, crush the nutrition, and you're going to be so much better for 4 years where you're playing. You know what I mean? Yes. So I've went back and forth with, yes, it's unprecedented and it's awful. And the same coaches who want to spout off on social media or elsewhere about you know, you got to deal with adversity and play the hand you're dealt when it comes to everything else. But for this, they're complaining about how this affects their kids. Yeah, and it's affected everybody else in some fashion, right? And to put it bluntly, it sucks. And there's nothing good about it, except for the opportunity that you have to be bigger, faster, and stronger when you start playing. If you're somebody that can't wait, then go somewhere where you know you have a chance to compete, and don't just settle on the first school that talked to you. Do your research, send emails, send video to coaches, and find that unicorn for you where you can go in and compete. And maybe there's a school out there that's graduating 15 kids this year. They have a lot more opportunity. So it just means you're gonna have to work harder, whether it be academically, weight room, or really doing your research. And you might not be going to your dream school, but you might be going to a school they're gonna have lifelong friendships and a great degree and be able to play right away. So those are the decisions that players have to make.
Excellent. What do you think? You touched on grades and stuff like that. What else can players do to separate themselves? Because I tell kids all the time, just because you're a 7 flat 60, there's 500 kids in Kansas that are 7 flat 60. Get to a 6'8", that separates you from that group. What can players do to separate themselves?
Obviously, tools. The more tools they have, like you talk about the run tool, the more tools they have in their toolbox that are plus tools, the better off they're going to be. Sometimes that's about, and even if you go to an event, ask if you can play multiple positions. You know, maybe you're at a showcase, and there's been guys before that we see arm action, like from shortstop. And we're like, hey, can you take a couple balls in the outfield too? Just because, you know, maybe your coach isn't playing in a position that's suitable to your skill level. We've done some of that as well. I know a lot of guys. And so put more tools in your toolbox. And then also, it sounds cliche, but be the best teammate you can possibly be, and be the kind of person that coaches want to have in their program. You made a good point, Tano. There's 500 kids that run a 7.0 60 in Kansas. Now think about those more populous states, how many there are. Like, I know you're special, Johnny, and I know that mommy thinks you're the best baseball player, like, on your team or in your town. But when it comes to college baseball, I'm sorry to tell you, but you're not that special, right? And the real reality of the job is, even if I bring you in my program, as soon as you're there, I'm trying to find someone better than you, unless you win a national championship. And a coach who doesn't say that isn't being honest with you. And so you should always be working to earn your keep and finding those ways that you can stand out, whether it be in the classroom, whether it be on the field. And at the NAI level, which Kansas is a big NAI state, there's some really good NAI baseball in the state of Kansas.
Sure is.
There's those academic exemptions. And the better student you are, the more people the coach can put on the field. That you can go down a rabbit hole, NAI academic exemptions. It has value to coaches. And so if it's between me, there's 2 freshmen, one of them's a 3.75, where I don't have to count their money towards my on-field total, and one of them's a 2.5, and I do have to count it, and they're the same ability, I'm taking the 3.75.
Right.
That's for my program. So that would be, sorry, you got me fired up.
Oh,
it's all relative. It's all relative. So
what you're saying is, trust me, it's a lot of the same stuff that I try to explain to the kids myself, but just getting, like I say all the time, if this show resonates with one person hearing it differently from somebody else, you know, I feel like it's a success. So what you're giving out is some great information. So when you were in college and you were out recruiting, what were some of the things you looked at in a recruit?
How they carry themselves is a big one. How they talk to their coaches, how they talk to the umpires, how hard they play. And there's so many guys that like just wouldn't run stuff out. So I'm sitting with a stopwatch, hoping I can get a true read on a home the first time. And they finally hit a ground ball, but they don't run it out. And I can't even get that read, you know, and that might be the only time I see you all year, you know, and not just me, that might be the only time that 15 other college coaches get a report on you because I've been to your game, you know? And so taking in pregame in and out seriously as well. What if you're an outfielder that doesn't get a chance to throw the entire game, right? So you've got to take those opportunities wherever they're at, wherever your feet are at, you have to make the most of. And so whether that's pregame in and out, whether that is in the game, it doesn't matter. Just trying to find those ways to really separate yourself. And you should know as a player if you're someone who separates yourself or not. Now you can tell, like there's all these little factions of a team, right? Always. You got the guys who will never pick up the dugout. You got the guys who will always pick up the dugout. You got the ones who will never go warm to right field, or the ones who won't. So really just try to find all those little ways to just play as hard as you can and showcase yourself without being, it sounds funky, but showcase yourself without trying to be the center of attention.
Right. No, it's what you're saying is all very, very, very true. Trust me. So outside of baseball, what hobbies do you have?
Moving to North Carolina has really allowed me to play more golf, which is and I have a wife and been married 12 years, have 2 daughters. Kendall will be 8 next month. Micah will be 5. This past fall, I coached Micah for the first time. Kendall doesn't really like sports. She does gymnastics and art and stuff like that, which is great. Micah is my little rough and tumble kid, and she played baseball for the first time. Had fun. I coached it. It was great. 3 to 5 year olds, a little different than coaching college, and we're going to start up again here in the spring. So do that. And then my wife and I are also foster parents. So we've had quite a few placements over the last 2 years. We actually got a newborn baby here about two weeks ago. So we have her. She'll turn a month here pretty soon. We don't know how long we'll have her, but we're just trying to provide a home for kids that need it while we have the means to do so.
That's awesome. And so did you start 6 a.m. practices like the JUCOs with your 3 to 5 year old team?
I'm letting her just go at her own speed. You know what I mean? She's going at her speed, and I'm rolling with it. And I'm like doing everything I can not to alienate her from liking the game. Like, I just want her to like the game.
So no weight room at 6 a.m.
I don't want to be there.
That's too early. All right.
Right.
Last question here. Any additional advice you can give to players and parents that you might not have touched on so far?
Yeah. Players really value the time that you have with your parents, because you're going to move away soon. And parents value the time that you have with your kids, because they're going to move away soon. You might be ready for them to go right now, but once they leave, you won't be. And make sure that, the college decision is a huge one. And so make sure the decision that you make makes sense, not only today, but long-term viability for your family and for the player. So I'd say really sit down and have those tough and those honest conversations. Put the phones away for an hour, right? Put them in a basket and literally write out the pros and cons of every school, and write out the wants. And we would say it as parents, right? You have wants and you have needs. You need a school that has this major. You want a school in this city. Like, those are, the wants and needs, and really break it down and enjoy your experience. You're looking forward to college. You're looking forward to college. But all it is one day, we call it cake and punch days, cake and punch and sign your letter and take the pictures. Well, then you still got to play your high school season. And so those high school guys are teammates, whether it be at your high school itself or in the summer. Enjoy every moment you get to spend with those teammates, because you're not going to be with them forever, right? So really try to find time to step back, smell the roses, and enjoy the time with the people that are in your life right now.
Well, Andrew, I appreciate your time today. Thank you for coming on the show. You gave out a lot of great advice and information, and it was great getting to know you, get a little bit of background about you, and I do appreciate it. Thank you.
Tonto, thanks for what you're doing for the baseball community, especially in Wichita. We appreciate it. And anybody, if they want to reach out with any questions, Andrew Bartman at usabaseball.com. Feel free to give me a shout or connect with me on social media.
Perfect. And that concludes This Week in Baseball with Team USA, Andrew Bartman. Thank you.